Let's have a look at using standard form in your chemistry answers. In most AS and A2 chemistry answers, you want to use 3 significant figures, but you want to write things in standard form to make that much easier to record. So let's have a look at some of the changing for your standard form answers. To use standard form, you need first of all to choose to get the part of the number between 1 and 9 inclusive. So the first part of your standard form thing should be any number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. Then it will have a factor where it's multiplied by 10 to the power x. And the 10 to the power x term, the x will have numbers that could be negative or could be positive. So numbers might be things like 1.0 times 10 to the 3 or 2.56 times 10 to the minus 7, etc. So the x can be a positive number or a negative number, and that positive or negative sign tells you where the decimal point is. So for example, if we want to change the number 100 into standard form, first thing to do is to look at the number 100 and pick that number between 1 and 9. So in this case, obviously with 100, the number is going to be 1. So we find the 1 figure first. Then we've got to find the original decimal place and move it next to the number 1. So the original decimal place then was after the 100, so 100 and then the decimal place. So we now need to move it so that it's next to the number 1 that we selected. So to do that, we need to move it back or to the left by 2 places. So you can see there that I've moved the decimal place from the first 0, then the second 0, so we make it 1.0. So in that case, I've moved it to the left by 2 decimal places. The answer is 1.0 times 10 to the 2 in standard form. If we try a bigger number like 5430, again, pick the number 5.43, which is the number that between 1 and 9. So I've moved the decimal place between the 5 and the 4. I've then got to find where the original decimal place was, which was after the 0, and then move it to that new place. So I've had to move it 3 lots to the left, so that's 5.43 times 10 to the 3. If we get a smaller number, which is less than 1, 0.001, again we do the same thing, so we still find the number between 1 and 9. So in this case, it would be number 1. We find where the original decimal place was, so that was 0.001, so the little arrow there showing where it originally was, and then we're going to move it to the new place, which would be following the 1. So I've had to move it 1, 2, 3 places over to the right this time, so indicate that by having a negative number, so that's a minus 3. So in this case, the answer will be 1.0 times 10 to the minus 3. The negative sign indicates that it's obviously a small number. If we try a different number then, so 0.0000735, again find the number 7.35, and then look at where the original decimal place was and move it to the new place. So I've had to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case it would be 7.35 times 10 to the minus 5, as it's a small number. Obviously we can go the other way around, so we can start from standard form and put it back into a normal number, so 1.0 times 10 to the 2. We see the x value there is 2, so in this case we're going to move the decimal place 2 to the right. So we're moving the 2 to the right, we need to fill in the zeros as we go, so we'd end up with a number 100. If we take another number, 3.45 times 10 to the 4, that again we've got to move the decimal place over 4, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, fill in the zeros, so we've got 34500. So obviously a large number. Again, if x is negative, like a negative 4 in this case, do exactly the same thing, moving the point across by 4, but obviously over to the left, so that we get a small number. So in the end of this one, it will be 3.01 times 10 to the minus 4 would be 0.000301. Hopefully this has helped out with some of your standard form. Again, if you use the Jim Clark or some of the exercises your member of staff can give you, or go and see some of the chemistry staff or the maths teachers, that will sort it out. But also a thing to remember is to have a look at significant figures, because the answers usually are in standard form up to 3 significant figures.